From making the Eastern Conference Finals alongside LeBron James to becoming homeless and getting arrested on the side of the road, this is the Delonte West story and how he went from an NBA star to a homeless man. Before we get started with today's video, please like the video if you enjoy it and subscribe to the channel for new videos like this one every week. Delonte West had a tough childhood. His parents divorced at a young age and he grew up in poverty. He struggled to fit in at school and was often bullied for his red hair. Basketball was all that Delonte had and was the only thing that would make him happy. At just 12 years of age, he suffered his first major injury and had to take time off from basketball to recover. Without basketball in his life, Delonte started to spiral and fell into a deep depression. It was then that Delonte began to experiment with prescription medication and alcohol. Once Delonte's injury had finally healed, he got back to distracting himself with basketball again. By the time Delonte made it to high school, he was averaging 20 points per game and had all of the potential to become a star athlete. When he made it to college, he took his game to a whole other level. In his junior year in high school, Delonte and Jameer Nelson were known as the best backcourt in college basketball. Delonte averaged 19 points per game and alongside Jameer led the St. Joseph Hawks to a 30-2 record. This season put Delonte West on the NBA's radar, and in 2004 he was drafted 24th overall by the Boston Celtics. Delonte was held back by several injuries during his time in Boston, but it was clear that he had potential to be a solid NBA player. Delonte was traded away to the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2008, where he became the starting point guard alongside a young LeBron James. Although this was a great opportunity for Delonte, his time in Cleveland was a bit of a roller coaster. It started with Delonte lashing out against some of his teammates in the preseason. The Cavs forced Delonte to take a break and see a doctor, where he was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. This meant that Delonte would have extreme emotional highs followed by extreme emotional lows. Delonte started taking medication for his condition and would regularly see the doctor to help manage his symptoms. But that was just the start of Delonte's struggles. Behind the scenes, Delonte was living a secret life. In September 2009, Delonte was arrested whilst riding his motorcycle through Washington. He was found carrying 3 different types of guns, and the story made headline news across America. Delonte ended up getting 8 months of house arrest, 2 months probation, and 40 hours of community service. Delonte's biggest controversy came after the 2009-2010 NBA playoffs. The Cavs went into the playoffs holding the best regular season record, and LeBron James was on a mission to win his first NBA championship. The Cavs played the Boston Celtics in the semifinals, and after going up 2-1 in the series, would lose 3 straight games to get eliminated by Boston. NBA fans and sports shows were trying to make sense of what happened to the Cavaliers since they'd been so dominant during the season. Rumors started to spread that Delonte West had been hooking up with LeBron's mom, and that when he found out, LeBron had been thrown off his game during the playoff series. This rumor has become a bit of a meme amongst NBA fans, but there isn't really any evidence to show that it's more than just a rumor. Realistically, the Cavs just came up against a much better Celtics team led by Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, and Ray Allen. However, Delonte was still traded away from the Cavaliers in the offseason, which only led fans and the NBA media to believe the rumor was true. Delonte was traded to the Timberwolves, where he was waived immediately. He then signed with the Boston Celtics for a year, but they dropped him after a disappointing season. One more team decided to give Delonte an opportunity, and he signed with the Dallas Mavericks before the 2011-2012 season. Unfortunately for Delonte, this season became the infamous NBA lockout season, where players and owners couldn't reach an agreement with the players' union. This meant that players were not getting paid, and they couldn't even use the team's practice facilities. This was the first time that Delonte had not had a regular paycheck in a long time, and it turned out that he wasn't very good at managing his money. Delonte had a $1 million 8-bedroom mansion in DC that he could barely afford when he was being paid. Things got so bad that Delonte had to take a job at Home Depot during the lockout season just to pay his bills. The lockout season was a really difficult time for Delonte, but thankfully in January 2012, the lockout ended and he could return to basketball. Delonte proved that despite his personal problems, he was still a talented basketball player. He averaged 10 points per game for the remainder of the 2012 season, but he still struggled personally. Delonte's criminal record kept him from getting a place in Dallas, so he was sleeping in his car and even in the Mavs locker room. Mark Cuban quickly stepped in though and found a place for Delonte. Delonte signed another one-year deal with the Mavs in 2013. Delonte was playing hard for the Mavericks, and in the preseason, he snapped at his teammates after a loss. The Mavs suspended Delonte, but just 10 days later, he blew up at his teammates again, receiving another suspension. A few days later, and the Mavs ended up waiving Delonte for behavior detrimental to the team, and this would mark the end of Delonte West's NBA career. Delonte didn't give up on basketball just yet. He bounced around teams in China and Venezuela before returning to the US in 2015 to play in the G League. In April 2015, Delonte suffered a season-ending injury, and this would finally mark the end of his basketball days for good. What came next was the darkest chapter in Delonte's life. Delonte West completely disappeared. No one knew where he went, no one was talking about it. A few years passed by, and the next time we saw Delonte was in a disturbing viral video where he was beaten up next to a highway. Delonte is visibly upset in the video and is clearly suffering from mental illness. It was clear that Delonte needed help. Other NBA players and friends of Delonte reached out over social media, but nothing really came of this. Then Delonte disappeared again, and no one heard from him until 2020, where a heartbreaking photo of him went viral. The photo showed Delonte on the streets of Dallas with a cardboard sign begging for money. NBA players reached out again to Delonte, but this time it was different. People rallied together, begging Delonte to get help, and others even offered to help directly. Even LeBron James offered to help Delonte, saying he would fly Delonte out to LA and spend whatever money he needed to help him out. Once Mark Cuban saw the photo of Delonte and heard that he was in Dallas, he called everyone that he could to track him down. He finally found Delonte a few days later and decided to help him out. A month later, Mark Cuban shared a couple of photos and an update saying, "Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Delonte West. A long way to go, but he's taken the first steps and shared these with all of us as a thank you for the love and support." For the first time in years, Delonte West looks happy and healthy, and now it's being reported that he now has a job at the same rehab center that he attended. I'm glad that Delonte has finally got the help that he needed, but if there's anything to take away from this video, it's that mental illness can be hell, and it's okay to ask for help when you need it. We need to look out for our families, friends, and co-workers and ask them if they need help, if they're showing signs of any distress. Thank you for watching today's video. If you enjoyed the video, please click the like button as it helps the channel grow, and subscribe to the channel for new videos like this one every week.